What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Brian Mello with Marty's Buick, GMC, and Chevrolet, and in today's video, we'll be discussing a new Buick Grand National and asking the question of this series, would you buy one? So let's get into it. All right, so today we're talking Buick Grand National.
Buick Regal Grand National Coupe.
A vehicle that made its debut in February of 1982 and named for the NASCAR Winston Cup Grand National Series. Buick had actually won the Manufacturers Cup in 1981 and in 1982, and the brand wanted to capitalize on its success. Because as we all know, what wins on Sunday sells on Monday. Yes, believe it or not, there was a time when Buick and racing could be a serious conversation topic, but now we have the encore. Anyway. In 1984, the Grand National came out in all black paint, a sort of Darth Vader vibe, if you will, though that was never the actual market intention, unlike the Lord Vader Your Car is Ready campaign we got a few years later with the Impala SS. Personally, for me, I think the Grand National fit that Darth Vader persona a bit better in my opinion, but what do I know? Now, beyond the black paint, in 1984, we also got the standard turbocharged 3.8-liter V6 engine capable of 200 horsepower and 300 pound-feet of torque. Quarter-mile times were listed at 15.9 at stock boost levels of 10 psi, which is sort of crazy to think about because these days we get that sort of quarter-mile time from a Tahoe. Wild. In 1986, the Grand National's engine design was modified with air-to-air intercooling, which boosted the performance to 235 horsepower and 330 pound-feet of torque. The Grand National certainly set a strong name for itself in the performance segment back then, and it continues even today to be an insanely sought-after vehicle by collectors and racers alike. Just take a look at this listing here for a 1987 low-mileage example that sold on Bring a Trailer last year for $100,000. A six-figure Buick. Who'd have thunk it? Now, after production of the Grand National and GNX came to an end in 1987, Buick seemed to lose all of its performance identity and branding in exchange for what quickly became known as the old people's car brand.
That's not a Buick.
But around 2015, rumors started circulating about the possibility of Buick resurrecting the Grand National. After all, Buick over the last decade had been trying desperately to rebrand itself and drop that whole elderly grandpa car buyer stigma that it's held on to for just such a long time. And what better way to do that than with a new high-performance sports coupe and with a nameplate like Grand National or even the GNX. That could provide just enough nostalgia to sway some buyers away from the Mustang and the Challenger. Well, as it turns out, those rumors, believe it or not, back in 2015 were true. Sort of. Buick was indeed developing a new high-performance coupe, a vehicle intended to target the enthusiast market, and completely change the perception of what a Buick was. Getting rid of that whole old people car thing. First revealed during a Buick event at the 2016 North American International Auto Show, this is the high-performance concept that Buick was working on, the Avista Coupe. A gorgeous, rear-wheel drive, 400 horsepower, twin-turbo V6 performance car built on GM's Alpha platform wearing the Buick Tri-Shield. Now, from a design standpoint, I think that this is quite possibly the sexiest car that's ever rolled out onto the North American Auto Show floor with a Buick badge. For 2016, this thing was and may still be way ahead of its time. Just look at the interior and you'll see what I mean. We've got a massive screen setup, interior complete with carbon fiber and aluminum, enough of it that would even the Escalade would be jealous of this thing. It looks better than a lot of the stuff we're seeing today, most of the stuff we're seeing today. And before some of you shake your head, because I know there are people out there that are going to just give me one of those because it doesn't look like a Grand National, remember that the Grand National was based on the Buick Regal at the time. So although the Avista doesn't look as chiseled from rock as the Grand National of old, understand that the design does have to evolve. But the core features like the V6 twin-turbo power plant, rear-wheel drive configuration, and two doors, which are, in my opinion, what really matter here and are certainly why people were speculating that this was, in fact, going to be the next Grand National, those matter. The Avista concept was a hit, and it was met with critical acclaim, winning the 2016 Eyes on Design Award, as well as being named Best Future Concept by the Detroit News. And this is a Buick, remember. Unfortunately, although GM considered making it Buick's new Halo car, the Avista was never put into production, and calling that a dumb move might just be an understatement. Fast forward to today, Buick is still, in my opinion, in desperate need of a real production Halo car, something that can actually get people excited about the brand. Sure, they have the Wildcat concept, but I'm talking about something that would actually make it into production. So thinking about all this, I couldn't help but wonder, what if Buick brought back the Grand National today? What would it look like? What would it perform like? Well, by utilizing the new artificial intelligence platforms and using the Buick Avista concept as the baseline vehicle, I came up with this, a next generation Buick Grand National. Now, I'm sure at first glance, the Grand National purists will be upset. I know a lot of people are against the revival of nameplates, and I get it. But I honestly believe that this could change the entire game for Buick. When I fed the original images of the Avista into the AI system, I asked it to design me a futuristic version of the vehicle with speed and aerodynamics as the core design element, and I think it did a fantastic job. Now, it's certainly not perfect, but I think most of you would agree that this thing looks better than any Buick we've seen in the last, I don't know, maybe ever. It almost looks like what you'd get if Aston Martin built an Avista. And who doesn't love Aston Martin? Launched this car with the 472 horsepower 3.6-liter V6 drivetrain from the Cadillac CT4V Blackwing alongside an optional manual transmission. And you've certainly got a winner in my opinion. And nobody, and I mean nobody, would be calling this grandma or grandpa's car. This car would capture headlines, it would get attention everywhere, and it would help bring back the performance identity back to Buick where it belongs. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think. And of course, answer the question of this series, would you buy one? I don't think I really have to tell you where I stand on this thing. I think I've made it pretty clear. So let me know what your thoughts are. As always, I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you made it this far into the video, if you could do me a huge favor by just smashing that like button, subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. Maybe share this video with a friend. Check out martysparts.com for all your GM OEM parts needs, and I will see you all in the very next video. Thanks again for watching, and take care.